Namaste, everybody, and welcome to my channel, IndigoAngel. Come on into the room. And I just want some feedback to know if my sound is good. If everybody can hear me today, put a 5 up in the chat. Hey, White Swan. Hey, Josephine the Divine. Yes, thank you for the sound check. Much appreciated, because I was checking my sound settings coming in and they needed to be switched a little bit. So thanks, guys. So lovely, so awesome. Thank you for being here. S. Lee, Joan, Charles Jackson, Casey5, Willie Clontz, Carly Ridings, hi from Arkansas. Hey, that's my neighbor. I'm in Alabama. Yeah, so good of everyone to be here. Happy Sunday to you as well. Hi, Arizona Raven. It's good to see you here too. So yeah, I just want to say Namaste Galactic family and welcome back to my channel, guys. Come on into this dimension. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notifications bell, and you definitely want to subscribe to be able to comment today. I actually turned on the subscribers only for the chat. Guys, come on into this dimension. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notifications bell, and you definitely want to subscribe to be able to comment today. I actually turned on the subscribers only for the chat. Okay. So I have some stuff that I want to dive into with you guys today. So much is going on right now. So much that I'm really going to need to jump around a lot to be able to... Okay, so my thing keeps replaying on me. Hang on just a sec. So much is going on right now. So much that I'm really going to need to jump around a lot to be able to... Okay, so my thing keeps replaying on me. Hang on just a sec. Okay, hold on just 1 second, because my sound is literally replaying on me. So hold on just a sec. I have to do some settings. Okay, hold on just 1 second, because my sound is literally replaying on me. So hold on just a sec. I have to do some settings. Yes, crazy tech. Oh my goodness. Let's see. I'm looking for my... Yes, crazy tech. Oh my goodness. Let's see. I'm looking for my... I know I have both up, guys. I am just literally trying to find the tab. Hang on just a sec. I know I have both up, guys. I am just literally trying to find the tab. Hang on just a sec.
YouTube, top. No. This one, close it.
Okay. We should be good now. Okay. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for bearing with me with that because I am just now starting to do lives. And so I think one of the things that have kept me from doing lives before is I was always just scared of all of the settings and all of the crazy things. There's actually a really difficult way of having to toggle in your Zoom because I always wanted to do things from the Zoom platform so I could be able to share with you guys and navigate. And yeah, I'm just happy to be able to do it now. So I'm glad I got that figured out. Thank you guys. So what I want to dive into with you is going to be really getting into some topics, right? So I want to go ahead and put a disclaimer on this video today. Everything that I'm going to talk about is definitely not suited for kids, as we're going to be doing some exposing more of the illumined ones and what these guys are doing, basically. Um, so, yes. Basically, I want to talk about what's going on with Katy Perry. So let me go ahead and share this with you guys. Okay. So this is something that has been, really going around right now all over social media. So I want to take a second to kind of talk about what's going on with Katy Perry's eye. um, so basically what happened, and I'll just play this. I'll turn the volume off so you don't have to hear all of that, but you guys have probably seen this. I guess apparently she suffered a mid-concert eye glitch, and now fans are worried that the pop superstar might actually be a robot. Okay, so they're saying during a recent performance of her Las Vegas play residency, Perry appeared unable to keep her right eye open. She even pressed her finger against her temple in a seeming effort to keep her eyelid from drooping. Eventually, the star managed to raise her eyelid and proceed to keep both eyes wide open for several moments. This is the picture I have on my thumbnail today. Basically, I was looking at this and it just looks really familiar. You guys may remember what happened with Justin Bieber. Uh, basically, you may have seen the video that I did with Justin Bieber. I was talking about the symptoms of the Cure serum and how these symptoms could be coming up basically from the Jim Jones elixir or the Draco Cthulhu modification needle technology, right? So it's the belief that through this needle technology that there is genetic modification and manipulation actually, modifying the DNA to become more reptilian based, and be signaled through the installation to the reptilian hive, essentially, to be, controlled under the command of transhumanism and AI, and basically going back to the control of the hierarchy structure within this. But essentially, you guys might remember that Justin Bieber's face was frozen, and Hailey Bieber also had a bunch of brain clots, and it was just really interesting at that time how they both, magically came down with these symptoms, both in young people, and there was this heightened level of the sudden adult death syndrome that was going around, which is still happening, by the way. But I just kind of wanted to point out with this situation and kind of the appearance of this happening, it looks something familiar to what happened actually with Hillary Clinton. But something to consider that this actually also might be coming from cannibalism or, SRA, which is what I put in the title, which is standing for Satanic Ritual Abuse. And it could actually be a bodily reaction to the Adreno elixir. So if you don't know what that is, it's basically an adrenaline fear-based serum from DNA, and it comes from a terrorized victim of SRA, essentially satanic ritual abuse, and then they ingest it, and it can have ramifications on the body. It can affect the central nervous system. It can cause tremors. It can cause basically just sudden random outbursts of the limbs. And this is something that can come from consuming this. So I just kind of wanted to point that out, that is a potentiality. These celebrities do gamble with a high price to pay for their stardom, and they have to serve their Illuminati masters essentially to stay in the game. So, it's just really, I think these are open displays of SRA. This is the veil pulling back more and us being able to see more of what is going on with these things. C. Mulvena says the way she touches her eye, the play devil's advocate, people who are wearing a lot of stage makeup will avoid touching the eyes. Yeah, it was done in a way that was kind of knowingly almost as well. Knowing that there was that trigger, knowing that there was that glitch, so to speak, and that I think there was definitely a big cover up here with this, with what she's saying it actually was. So that's just, yeah, it's really, everything's kind of on an open display right now. In my grid workers course, we would use the term to define this in terms of the land. We would define it through satanic ritual abuse sites. So there's actual sites that these abuses actually take place. And these are places on Earth that have had the SRA, and they generate a negative emotional energy collection. So they actually generate like a loosh or a harvesting at of this energy. And at these sites, they ritualize the collective to unconscious levels of satanic consent and an unconscious level of approval of humanitarian harvesting. And I'm bringing this up because this kind of goes into the next thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about. And this was this Commonwealth Games. You guys might have heard of this. Okay, I think we really have to pay attention to this because, these things are always shifting and evolving. They can become very divisive, very elusive. And it hides itself in the amnesic technologies. So it hides itself in the experiments of Area 49, which is code word for HAARP, the sky heaters, the modification, the chemtrailing, the degradation in the Earth's electromagnetic field through the beast machines and the trons. I mean, this right here, this is a beast, right? This is a ritual to worship the beast. And so this really takes place within the comforts of humanity and humanity's naivety to believe that all is restored or back to normal while the entire Illuminati structuralism is still in place. And then they just kind of basically, wave it in front of your face. So all of these SRA sites, these are done inside tunnels, they're done in corporation launches, they're done at football games. In this case, it was done at the Olympic Games. And I just wanted to kind of highlight this and point this out because this was really recent. I mean, this was July 28th through August 8th, 2022 in Birmingham, England. It was an international multi-sport event. And what's interesting is it marked the last time that the games were held under Queen Elizabeth II. Yeah, this performance was shockingly occult. It absolutely was. Um, it so it was prior to her death on September 8th of that year, which was exactly 1 month after the conclusion of the games. So that means that this satanic opening ritual was done under the inauguration of the crown of King Charles. Okay, so this is kind of premonition into, maybe what his rulership is going to look like. They said that the opening ceremony of it began with Prince Charles actually driving out of his own Aston Martin in the stadium. So he actually was kind of at the head of this ritual. And then things got really dark. The celebrations kind of came to a halt, and then there was dancers running around. They were placing fingers on their heads. They were announcing the coming of the horned beast, and then the beast arrived. Um, and then they had a massive, the fuming bull with the red eyes. It was carried into the stadium and it was being pulled by women in chains, which is just very, strange symbolism here. Everything that they said that they're trying to, work against, basically working against the conditions of the people of the 19th century of women. It's kind of like the Industrial Revolution, the oppression of men. This is what they're trying to define, but it's just, it's coming through a lot of manipulation. Then the women drop the chains, the bull gets angry and starts trampling around as everyone cowers in fear. And then they basically turn around to tame the bull, and then they essentially hold crystals up to it, and then they start praying to it, and then they start worshiping it. And so this is the same type of worship that has been offered to Baal, and it's a child sacrifice where people would prostrate themselves to Baal. And essentially, they've been doing this for thousands of years. It's still happening today, obviously. And so that's kind of what conclusively that this satanic ritual offering was about. And so now they're saying, though, that this bull is actually now a permanent display now in Birmingham in England. And so I think this is just something that has actually been overlooked as we make our way into 2023. I think these are results that are going to continue to persuade humanity into the continuation of farming humans. I mean, at the core of the beast is everything technologically that is basically distorting organic humanity. I think the veil at this time is becoming much more thin. Everything is becoming much more visible. So things like SRA is becoming much more visible. You can see now, or something that I've been noticing psychically, is that there has been this just a huge layer of Illuminati chemical programming and harvesting that's over the unconscious and through the unconscious collective. I'm kind of getting to a point now, I'm just seeing SRA in almost everything. And I think this visibility is becoming more available to everyone. The veil is so much more thin. And I think it's going to keep thinning all the way into the winter solstice. And it's really thin in the shadow. It's really thin in the lower astral fields, in the lower 1D, 2D, and 3D. This is where we can see through the propagation of all of this stuff. And so those that are in lower states of unconsciousness, I don't even want to call it consciousness anymore. Those that are in lower states of unconsciousness, okay, we're gonna see within this more of them acting upon fear within limiting beliefs, because a lot of this is playing upon the crucifixion wounds, and it's playing upon just being capped at the crown chakra, basically, and acting upon persecution and crucifixion codes inside the body. So what I've also been seeing with this, in terms of this energy update, is that there is just such a stirring at this time. It's a vengeful, almost even like hateful stirring. I want to say that, just because I've been seeing more witch hunts. I've been seeing more collective pushes for witch hunts, and because I've been seeing a lot more people who are telling me that they're having a lot more reoccurring memories of lifetimes of being pagan, at burning at the stake. These type of memories, they're just becoming much more activated in people's remembrance and people's fields. And these are triggers to these things, right? So when we see these SRAs, when we see these satanic acts, when we see even just like Katy Perry's eye, because we know what they are, because it's so visible, I think it's triggering a lot of these memories of these injustices in these times where there was a lot of witch hunts that came up and came through. And because of that, I think it's creating this layer of seek and destroy energy in the collective. One reason why I say that is because I see a lot of the Ireland's histories coming up. I see a lot of the unjustness in the female history of Ireland, and this is really kind of at the core of, you know, casting out the snakes in Ireland, casting out paganism. And this is coming up a lot for me too, because as I'm preparing to go to the Vatican, I'm preparing to go to a 5D reversal Stargate. And as I dive more into this information, I'm seeing that, you know, all of that is rooted on paganism. All of that is rooted. The Catholic Church itself was desecrated, you know, a pagan cemetery, basically, to place the Vatican there. So this is bringing up codes of pagan desecration to be cleared a lot more deeply. I had a gal, which I'd love to bring her on my channel, but she was talking to me about the Mary Magdalene laundry facilities and how these were, I guess they would call them prostitution houses or whatever, but they're actually these like facilities where women who were prostitutes, or women who were poor, or women who were homeless, or women who were, you know, just whatever it was, but were pregnant, would have to go to these Mary Magdalene laundry facilities. And essentially they would sell the babies. They would traffic the babies. They would take the babies. They would sell the babies. They would kill the babies. They would do all of these horrendous things, essentially. And so a lot of this is just coming up. This just keeps on coming up more and more. And because of this, it's stirring a lot of deep emotions within the feminine, a lot of mourning for the earth spirit body. And I'm not talking just like just like sadness, like connecting to the earth. I'm talking like rigorous emotional releases from the womb that you know, take one deeper into deep like womb pain, deep crying spells from the womb, a lot of anger, a lot of codes of humanity's betrayal. A lot of that is really coming up a lot. G Chin says, love and strength on your journey. Thank you so much. Sudden adult death syndrome. I like how you put that. Yeah, the Vatican had the most evil feeling I've ever felt. Second, I stepped into St. Peter's Square. I felt wrong. I had to leave. You'll require all your armor, Indigo. And I have been feeling that. I really, really have. I've been getting very, very activated as I prepare to go. I'm talking lit up like a Christmas tree. But I also feel spirit guiding me to higher levels and forms of protection that I was unaware of before, which I'm actually going to share with you guys about some of that today. But yeah, I think anxiety levels are really heightened right now. I feel that, and what I've seen is that the central nervous system is being disturbed a lot. There's a lot of adrenal releases of stress. And there's a lot of glandular and dietary disruptions, like our digestive system. So all of this is kind of at the top of the body malfunction and impairment that goes along with the releases that are going into what's really moving through us collectively. Just heightened levels of high electromagnetic energy in the body, getting into these states of consciousness that are really resistant or disallowing to grounding energy, making things more difficult to ground. There's a lot of inversions of perceptions, and I think that's continuing to flip in and fold upon itself. So that's really what's making things like child trafficking and all of this become so much more visible. You've kind of noticed within the last couple weeks, there's been this push of attention around it. I've noticed, I've just been kind of observing that there's been this almost like this blasted wave of next best-selling books and public pioneer campaigns that are being lobbied and being funded by gun corporations around child trafficking, which I'm kind of finding very peculiar. Even though it is a core issue, but it's really concerning to me that I'm seeing so much backing up from the NRA when it comes to this issue. So I think there's a lot of deep-seated agendas that are going much more deeper into this than I could probably fully dive into here on YouTube. But either way, a lot of darkness is coming to light. The illumined ones, I feel, are more visible than they ever have been before. And yeah, so another thing that I wanted to share with you guys was some update that Carrie Cassidy put out. And I'm gonna take a little drink here of my cabbage juice. So I have cabbage juice in a wine glass. Don't ask why it's in a wine glass, but I've been doing juiced cabbage juice to try to restore my digestive system. It's supposed to be really, really good for ulcers and just balancing your stomach. But it's super, super good. I had no idea that cabbage juice was that good. But now that I'm drinking it, I absolutely love it. But yes, so having that said, let's look at Carrie Cassidy's update that she wrote and put out for just a second here. So I'll put this in the description once I get off the live with you guys, but I'll put all of the links to everything that I talked about so you can go check it out if you want to. Essentially, she's talking about there being a human stand at Devil's Mountain, Ukraine. And she's talking about the date for the destruction or the closing of the giant portal in Ukraine, the real purpose behind what's going on an energetic level. And I think this is really interesting just to notate, and I wanted to bring this up because I feel like this is something that I actually have been talking about for a little while, about the wormholes, okay, and the black holes that are in that were basically opened up in Chernobyl. So Chernobyl in Ukraine. I was seeing that there was wormholes, there were black holes to this site, and that it was coming through the nuclear power point disaster site in Ukraine, and that this was energetically connected to the desecration of the Georgia Guidestones, that there are affiliations in the crime families and the Willy Wonkas involved in both of this that are connecting wormhole systems, basically. So we could say Georgia Guidestones is a wormhole, Chernobyl's a wormhole, and even this Devil's Mountain in Ukraine might be some sort of portal that is definitely pulling things in. So as I kind of dived into this, because in her article she said it was speculative about, you know, where this might be, so it got me kind of interested into where that could be. So I was looking into it, and there is actually a Devil's Rock in Ukraine. So it's a monastery by the Devil's Rock, is where I think holds a lot of the true Ukrainian and Polish history. And I think what makes this so impactful and powerful, and I didn't realize this, was that I guess at this rock in Ukraine, there was some sort of historical turmoil since the medieval times. And one thing that happened here after looking into it was there was actually a massacre that happened here. And I guess there were thousands of Polish victims that were open fired on in this considered place of worship. And I'm really finding with a lot of these wormhole portal structures, the black hole systems, what's feeding into the shadow realms, the phantom realms, the Metatronic realms, the Wisa systems, all of this, is that there's often a lot of heightened desecration at the sites, around the sites, deaths, murders, massacres, Holocaust. This is really what defines wormhole energy. So I think there can be thousands of wormholes on the earth at this point, considering up all of the locations on earth that major events, cataclysmic core world wounding events have taken place. And so I wouldn't doubt it if this was one of those. So I think what I'm seeing just in terms as grid worker missions and those that, you know, might be on rescue and recovery missions. So if you're in my grid worker course, you'll know what all of these terms are because we're going over grid work anatomy at this time. And I just wanted to let you guys know too that it's still open for enrollment for the course. So you would have already missed the first intro to grid work and the grid work anatomy class on October 22nd, but you can still enroll for 6 more classes. You would just have to go back and watch the previous 2 that are available for replay and download. So you would just go to my website, IndigoAngel222.com, go to the Grid Worker course tab, and you can join and sign up there if you would like to. But in the course, I go into talking about the Grid Worker missions, you know, the indigo type missions and how those are interlinked. And so a lot of indigo type 3s and type 1s will often go on rescue and recovery missions, which are kind of like reconnaissance assignments. And it's where there's a lot of extracting of negative alien machinery or extracting of satanic ritual abuse in these sites. And so if that's something you're working on, whether, you know, it's on your own, spiritually, energetically, whatever it is, I think that this is kind of the best and fastest way at this time to heal the grids during this time of the thinning of the veils. These are the types of places that actually need a lot of spiritual attention. There's a lot of healing that has to happen. There's a lot of raising the consciousness and the vibratory fields and the sound and light fields of the land. There's a lot of reparation that's going into the geometric structures in those core sites, because a lot of times they're fragmented or missing parts and pieces. They're broken, they're just tattered. Things are not attached. Things are kinked. Things are clogged with atomic levels of radiation. Because I think a lot of the wormhole sites generate back to the nuclear radiation sites and facilities. So they're pulling and extracting from other smaller wormhole systems back to greater, more detrimental areas in the landmass. And so this is just what really needs spiritual attention at this time, is definitely to work on the sites in Ukraine. This is really kind of what's at the core, I think, of global healing, at least for the time frame that we're in, going into the winter solstice. So, yeah, the thinning of the veil has been bringing a lot of good things, though, too, for those that aren't, I guess, being pulled down into the lower astral experiences, lower dimensional astral experiences, and are actually going through heightened levels of ascension capacities at this time. It's bringing a lot of immaculate upgrades to those that are receiving ancient relics of spiritual armor. So this is one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about, was how I'm preparing to go to the Vatican. When I was doing the video and the interview with Ruben Langdon, I was seeing the breastplate. So I also wanted to give you guys a reminder really quick. So just remember too, like, all of these things are going on, all of this satanic ritual abuse, all of this crazy stuff. But if you carry 144,000 missions, if you carry Guardian missions, if you carry Starseed missions, Indigo missions, if you carry Seraphim, Oraphim missions, Tritonal Dragon missions, all of these things, right? You're basically boosted through what appears to be times of revelation. So you have like a heightened spiritual immune system. You are boosted through polar shifts, which means that you're actually given immunity to detrimental energy when these things take place. You're boosted through disruptions in the firmament or the stratosphere. You're boosted through the Armageddon. You're boosted through plague, famine, war, death. Like, these things, these seals will release themselves and cause these turns of events. But if you're carrying the high crystal diamond frequencies and codes, and you are getting your ascension capacities up, you actually fly through these things like untouched. It's really crazy, but it's something that happens as you come into Starseed consciousness, is you are seriously boosted with spiritual immune system. And it only enhances as you go into grid worker missions, because you're going around to planetary stargates and you're running the transmissions with the gate systems in the land. And so it again boosts and actually completely alters your DNA to match the frequency of those stargates. And so you're just more protected during these times. That's why these things can become so visible and you can see through it. So I think we're continually to be upgraded and receiving the codes. And one thing that I've been seeing that we're acquiring is spiritual relics. So bringing this back to the interview I did with Ruben Langdon, which, by the way, he was so amazing, you guys. It was really fun and interesting to do that, because he was the stuntman for Keanu Reeves, and I think some other things as well. He's done stuff for like video games and stuff, but it was actually really cool to get to talk to him, because he has kind of like an insider viewpoint into Hollywood and also Gaia TV as well, because I think he has a show on Gaia TV. But yeah, what I had seen in that interview was I kept seeing a breastplate. And I was wondering why I kept seeing the breastplate. What does this breastplate mean? I kept seeing the Tablet of Destinies. And over the last few weeks, I was actually seeing the diamond breastplate shield within my own energetic field. And it was actually a diamond breastplate in my energy, like in my astral and my auric levels of my field. And I kept seeing blue and emerald bright lights inside of it. And as I was tuning into that, I realized that this is coming in because these are newer, higher harmonic universal sound tones. So what's happening is I'm activating, and those of you who are seeing this or called to this as well or are feeling it, and I think it's, it's groups of us that are getting these upgrades, but we're basically upgrading to higher sound frequencies, and I think it's coming in through the Andromedan system, through the diamond bodies, and it's being transmitted from the magnetic fields of the aurora rays. So like the aurora borealis, that this is the true plasma magnetic illuminary field that is the actual portal passageways to our interstellar connections. And so it's coming through the aurora rays. It's upgrading our core frequencies in our elemental bodies. And this is chemically rearranging into our DNA code. So we may physically feel that our entire chemistry is changing. You may feel that over the last couple of weeks. We're becoming more ultra sensitive in how we are processing what we are hearing, and what we are hearing and seeing is becoming increased. And because of that, you may actually feel inherently more annoyed with what is coming out of humans' mouths, right? Like unconscious humans, because the tonal expression of unconsciousness is now starting to sound like nails on a chalkboard. Okay, it's now starting to sound like slow motion shattering of glass, because it's static frequency to harmonic resonance. Okay, and so as we integrate more of the core creation tones from these diamond breastplates, it's pushing the lower vibrational fields out to be released, and it's reconstructing our entire reality fields within that. So I think that's something that I'm tuning into to just prepare myself to go into the Vatican, is to receive these relic upgrades. It's like we're being given these tools. We're being given these, yeah, I guess it's like a spiritual armor to add to our field, as we perceive more. And another thing that I noticed with the auroras as well is that along that, so through the auroras and through that encryption, let me just actually pull up a picture really quick. So aurora borealis. So I mean, the last couple of nights I've just been watching these, like meditating to these, actually listening to the sound frequencies of these, because the re-encryption, they're bringing in re-encryption to the organic matrix. So as we embody that, it's repelling and dissolving the inorganic matrix of alien machinery that's embedded in cellular tissue levels. Okay, so it's restoring that at a much deeper level. Yes, White Swan says, yes, totally agree, Indy. Ancient armor and tools are coming in. It definitely is. It definitely is. Dennis Lindsay says, we are like tuning forks. We are advancing to feel higher and higher vibrations. Yes, exactly. That's what's happening. One thing that I've been seeing too is the restoration of the weapons of Christ. So And I really feel like this is something that you receive as you have deeply released the crucifixion implants, the crucifixion seals. And I'm talking all of them. Okay. It is not all, like, the more I dived into that, it's not just the crown of thorns. Okay, the crown of thorns is just one stigmata wound. There's also, the nails and the spikes that are driven into the hands and feet. There's also the puncture wounds up underneath the rib cages, the lashings on the back. There's also female crucifixion wounds, like the 12 stars of Mary's crown, and then also personal persecution. So if someone has inherently a strong like Jewish background or something like this, they can carry the yellow badges ethically in their field. And then sometimes there's just personal crucifixion where they're actually carrying a cross. These are all things energetically, ethically, that almost have to be released. And then the key components of them have to be restored. So one thing that came forward to me the other night when I was kind of meditating and getting all these downloads about the Illuminati, we were seeing the weapon of Christ. So let me show you this. This is the Holy Lance. Okay, and the Holy Lance is what pierced the side of Jesus in the Gospel of John. The Holy Lance is also known as the Spear of Destiny. So I'm like, okay, I'm seeing the breastplate of destiny and now the Spear of Destiny. So it's these two destiny tools are kind of coming together. The legend of its existence is nearly on par with the Holy Grail and the Ark of the Covenant. So this is there's so much talk about the Holy Grail, about the Ark of the Covenant. We never hear about the Spear of Destiny. What's interesting about this is going to the Vatican, going to Rome to restore what I'm even seeing as part of the mission is all of the lost and stolen artifacts, right? They say that this artifact is beneath the dome of St. Peter's Basilica. They say it was recorded in the 6th century to have traveled from the Church of the Holy Sepulchre to Constantinople to Paris and then finally to Rome. So the lance in Rome, what's there is they say that it is actually there, but the tip has been broken off over the course of the long journey of it getting there. So it's just really interesting how, as we continue to upgrade our fields, how like sacred relics are coming forward in our field energetically. The imprints of them still live. They're living within us, and these can be used as tools, and they can be used as the building of our light body field as an armor to also protect ourselves when doing things like rescue and recovery missions. So yeah, guys, a lot to share with you today. Thank you so much for tuning in to this energy update. Just going to check the chat one more time. Flamer24 says the Spear of Destiny. I mean, yes, there are supposed pieces of it in many cathedrals in Europe. The forks can reverse the miasmas in our DNA. Yeah, tuning forks I think are really, really important right now. Yeah, thanks guys for tuning in. I love you all so much. You guys are all so amazing. And yeah, so I hope you guys have a beautiful everything and current things I'm working on. Just trying to think here. So yes, wow, I got so much coming up for you guys. It's gonna be wild. Right now we're putting together a Nibiru Marduk Maldek template, light grid template. And then gonna build all of the light matrixy templates that define the Atlantean timeline. So the last month I was working on all of the ones from the Lemurian timeline. So if you guys haven't checked out any of that stuff, go to my website, IndigoAngel222.com, and be sure to check out my last blogs just so you can keep up on the grid technology that's coming out, because it really is so amazing. It's so cool to be able to put this stuff together, and I think there's a lot that we're going to be going over soon to define what these look like. We've been seeing a black cube that has spikes and connections that are targeting, particular locations, man-made and artificial Stargate sites, where they're siphoning off of the energy, also activating the energy, encoding the land, distorting the land, running reversal codes into the land. So I think it's good to define this black cube energy, which is ultimately, I think it's a core templating within the earth that extends through first, second, and third dimensional fields according to Nibiru, Marduk, and Maldek, and also Saturn. So they're all actually connected through the cube energy. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that coming up. So hang in there, guys. Stay with me. Stay tuned. And I hope you all have a beautiful everything. Namaste and take care.